right over there. All right, so you guys have heard us talk about this class for weeks now, and if you've been here for a long time, you've probably even taken a class similar to this course or a lecture about your nutrition, what it's going to do to your body, what's going on. Now, a lot of times when it comes from me, it's performance related. Oh, here we go. Perfect. On cue. Hey, Avery. So, this morning, Avery's going to be talking to you guys about nutrition and, in particular, how to optimize your health. So, you know, this for us, and I won't go too deep into this because I know she's going to talk a little bit about it as well, but our journey with health and fitness, the gym, Marlena, there's seats over there. There's chairs in the front if you don't want to. I know, I like it when it's a standing room only. A lot of people that are interested, concerned about learning a little bit more about what's going into their body and what kind of effects it has. And that's what Avery's going to be going over today. Okay. A lot of times when I'm talking about it, it's on the performance side of things, the sports side of things. And that's great and all, it's fun, but that's probably not what everybody's the most interested in. It might be something I'm interested in.
Rob, right on. Put her in the front row.
That takes to the left or right in front. Perfect. Where was I? But for us, this journey kind of started not on the performance side of things. It started on the health side of things. When we were in our 20s, I was really sick, and a friend of ours, more than a friend, Avery's sister, put us on to CrossFit and put us on to a book called The Paleo Solution. And a lot of people in her gym were reading that book and trying to change their eating habits and their health markers through their nutrition, through the stuff they were eating. So we had been in and out of the hospital for months and months and months, and was very, very sick, and had to have one of those serious kind of conversations that you have with your loved ones about what the future is going to be like. And as that conversation, you know, evolved and kept going, I, as a person, was a very picky eater at that time, and not anymore, despite what you might say. This is, you know, when it's against someone who will eat everything or anything, okay, then I guess maybe I will picky. But I had to make a decision about the food that I was going to eat and how it might impact my body. And since we tried so many different things, a shopping list of medications, all right, treatments to get a little bit healthier, or just to kind of stave off the symptoms, which is usually the case. All right, you're getting a Band-Aid put on the problem. Well, we decided to kind of take this situation into our own hands. And then comes trying to change the food and the habits that you have so that you can have a better quality of life. All right, it started with thyme green beans, which I'll never forget. Was rough, and I was just telling her last night as we were going back through this thing, I'll never forget that, because I remember saying that if this is how it's going to go, I think you just kill me, okay? Because it was hard. It was hard for me to eat that stuff. It was hard for us to think about how we cook, how we prepare this stuff, because we didn't have experience with it. A homemade meal for us was out of a box of Hamburger Helper. I was like, oh, that's a home-cooked meal, all right? And it's so far from it. But Avery's going to come up here and talk to you guys about this stuff. She has worked with you all right, plenty in the gym. Obviously starting out, cutting her teeth on me with nutrition, and that's good. That's a good learning spot right there, because if she probably didn't have a harder person to deal with. So she's worked with dozens. I mean, that's probably too low of a number for the amount of people whose life she's impacted with her advice on health, nutrition, training as well, for sure. She's a great athlete, an awesome coach up in here, and you guys know her well for all of that stuff. But she's going to be up here talking to you guys about health and nutrition. So without any further ado, my wife, the fitter of the two. The better.
What wives?
The better of the coaches gets to have the floor, and I'll just sit back down. So guys, Avery, yeah, there you go.
Thanks, guys. So, most of you know I'm Avery. I'm the nutrition coach for Rose City Barbell Club. I've been working in good nutrition personally for about 15 years. That's when I really started to dive into my own nutrition, and with the gym for about 13 years. So we've hosted several nutrition challenges. A lot of you have benefited and been a part of those. And I've helped a lot of clients achieve their health and performance goals. But while I've coached clients on aesthetics and performance, I've also helped a lot of people lose body fat, eliminate and reduce medications, and then reverse chronic Many of you know that this journey for me began with me and Nick and our nutrition, and that personal story is what drives me to continue to share this information, to have a positive impact on our community and beyond. So the nutrition protocol that saved us wasn't something that was recommended by our doctors. It took, us having open minds and our advocacy and determination, or we wouldn't be here right now. So a few years ago, after Greg Glassman sold CrossFit, I was digging around on the internet and I found Broken Science Initiative. And it's a company that Greg Glassman and Emily Kaplan formed. And they began publishing not only Greg's previous CrossFit Journal articles, but a lot of work from scientists and doctors that were stepping out to question kind of the current state of our healthcare system and the medical research that goes along with that. Some of you have seen these talks and lectures since then. I've tried to share what I can, and I think a lot of you would agree that they're pretty impactful. But this reminded me, of the stuff that Greg was sharing before he sold CrossFit. Nick and I had a lot of access to great nutrition and medical research that we could share, and I really wanted to continue to have that kind of access and be able to share that with our community because I really believed in what they were doing. So I followed them closely and I watched all the content they released and then shared it with friends and family. And then Broken Science rolled out their medical society, which brings patients and doctors together to talk about research and talk about clinical trials and talk about medications and these treatment protocols for chronic diseases. And I've been able to sit in on a lot of these calls and learn so much over the last 6 months. And then Nick and I were able to head to Atlanta last December and watch Greg and Emily both speak. And I think that was a really serendipitous moment for us, and just knowing that we were doing the right things for the right reasons with the right people. So last month, as one of the first 100 MetFix affiliates, Nick helped me be able to travel to Rogue HQ, and it was the first MetFix seminar where we were able to dive headfirst into the science of nutrition for 2 solid days. And it was pretty intense. In the very beginning, I felt like I wasn't supposed to be there, because a lot of this stuff, I have an English degree. A lot of this stuff felt like it was pretty far over my head. But the way that they disseminated that information to me was really profound, and I got so much from it. And so part of my goal today is to be able to pass along some of that education that I've learned, and then the real life application on how nutrition impacts our health, both positively and negatively. So while what I'm going to share gets scientific, I want you to understand that it's not comprehensive. There's a lot more. There's only so much we can cover in an hour. And I'm really condensing what I've learned and doing my best to share it with you in a way that's digestible and honest, helpful, and hopefully motivating. So this is stuff that any of us can read in a biology book, but yet it's highly controversial, and dare I say, unpopular. And it's not unpopular opinion, it is unpopular science, unpopular facts, stuff that's often misunderstood and maybe even forgotten. So it's the stuff really that we swore we'd never need to learn in real life. But here we are, and I hope that this information can help you and hopefully maybe even save your life. Morning, Tony. Welcome. So I'm going to start by talking about what is health. So it is the soundness of mind, body, and spirit, according to the dictionary, or freedom from disease and pain, physical pain. You could also, say mental, emotional pain as well. But I think it's important for us to drill down deeper into that and think about what it looks like for each of us individually and also on a more cellular level. So for me, it looks like being able to keep up with my kids, being able to teach my 7-year-old how to do cartwheels if he wants to learn, being able to pick my kids up and run out of the house if there's a fire, being strong enough to defend myself and carry my groceries in the house in one shot, placing myself in the best possible health leading into perimenopause and menopause so that I don't suffer from bone loss or muscle loss. And then ensuring that my kids don't do everything I wanna do when I wanna do it. And I hope that you guys will kind of think about what health means for you. So, it seems easy enough to have that dream, to be able to do all the things you wanna do, but we have a pretty big problem. America is the sickest that it's ever been. 93% of Americans have at least one metabolic or one marker of metabolic dysfunction. So that can look like elevated fasted glucose, that can look like high triglycerides, high blood pressure, having ectopic fat, which means fat around your organs, insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, things that we often see. So we've cut fat, we've cut calories, we've eaten the heart healthy foods, we've trusted the experts, but still obesity and chronic disease are on the rise. So what does that tell us? That tells us that we're not really healthy. 93% of us have one marker of metabolic dysfunction. So what are we doing? And we can look on social media right now and we can see any influencer that's gonna sell us the magic pill, the tea, the supplement, the thing that's gonna get us closer to optimal health. But really, I mean, none of it's working, and it's frustrating, and it's super confusing. So I kind of want to talk about the model and kind of what's happening here. We've got people that are sick and suffering, like Peter, and they're going to the primary care doctor, and they're getting the care and treatment for their symptoms, but they're not getting care and treatment for the root cause. So they maybe, they're getting a prescription for medication that's going to have some side effects, and then their healthcare provider is doing the best they can and saying, you need to change your diet, you need to exercise more. But that information is based on outdated nutritional epidemiology, which you can see that little food diagram there. And I think a lot of us grew up with just the food pyramid, but both of these are flawed. So that information can only go so far. And then we have our industry and our lobbyists, so meaning big food and big pharma. We continue to eat the heavily processed foods from big food, and then big pharma is making the medications to treat all of our symptoms. So we keep getting sicker. We keep going back to our primary care doctor and getting more prescriptions filled. And the cycle continues, and we become customers for life. So Broken Science is solely interested in disrupting this cycle. Medfix is interested in truly healing its people. And our annual affiliate fees go towards the research, the education, and the fight against this model. And our gym's mission as an affiliate is to educate, help, and heal these people. So, what's the fix? You guys know what it is? It's going to be a diet and exercise program that moves us closer to optimal health. So, the diet consists of natural foods, consumed in macronutrient ratios, that encourage metabolic flexibility, which I'm going to talk a lot about today, and in quantities that discourage excess body fat. So it's generally going to be high in fat, moderate in protein, and low in carbohydrates. Most simply, that means to eat meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some starch, little fruit, no sugar, and no seed oils. Take a sip of water. The best exercise is going to be constantly very functional movements performed at high intensity. You guys see that every day in our strength and conditioning program, in the work that you do with Nick and the coaching. Exercise is going to be used as a tool for metabolic repair. It's not just calorie burning. This isn't just calories in, calories out. This is a tool to repair us on a cellular level. So when you combine diet and exercise, you're going to improve all of your measurable health markers, avoid sickness, and build a body that's capable, highly capable, year after year. Distilled down, that's off the carbs, off the couch. So our bodies are not broken, they're just compensating. And if we give it the right inputs, we're going to see optimal health and healing, and even improved in performance. And you guys, those of you who've done our nutrition challenges, you've seen this, you've experienced it. We've measured it time and time again, and it's predictable and provable. I don't know that I've ever talked to anyone that didn't do a full diet challenge to the T and feel better afterwards. lot of you understand that nutrition is the foundation of that pyramid. And a lot of us really come here, we walk in that door the first time for the workout, because that's the thing that's fun, right? No one really wants to go home and focus on nutrition. But that nutrition is such a huge piece of the puzzle, and if we ignore it and allow everyone else to ignore it, then we're really doing you a disservice in terms of your health. So I would like to keep coming back. I don't think Nick likes to nag anybody about their nutrition when they're in there for a workout, particularly if you've had a bad day at work. No one wants to discuss what they had for breakfast. So, you know, we want you to come in and enjoy your time, but we also want you to understand that what you eat directly impacts your lifespan, or like I like to call it, your health span. It's going to be a determining factor whether you get type 2 diabetes or cancer or dementia, have a heart attack or stroke. It's the elephant in the room, so we have to address it. And fortunately for us, we see you guys, or Nick sees you guys 4 to 5 times a week for an hour, and he gets that time with you, whereas your doctor may only see you for 20 or 30 minutes, 3, 6, 12 months, depending on your situation. So they're not seeing you very often. They don't get a lot of time with you. But, you know, we call you in here today because we want to explain this stuff and go over it and hopefully give you some concepts that you understand and you can make real change with. So, again, want you guys to you know, be able to leave with some stuff, you know, and have some motivation, have some value added in terms of what nutrition can do for you. If you're new here, hopefully, you know, you understand that your family member or friend brought you here because they love you and they care about you, and maybe that they think you might need to hear this information. And you know, hopefully, like, if you have questions for me and Nick or your family member, you'll ask them and feel free. We'd love to talk to you more about what we can do for you here. So, I don't want anybody to leave here gloom and doom today. I just want you to feel like you have a choice and some control over this aspect of your life. So, we'll talk about what is food. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay. All food-based energy originates from sunlight. It's captured through photosynthesis and passed down the food chain. But our modern food is evolutionarily mismatched. So Nick and I can go down a serious rabbit hole on this, and if you talk to us one-on-one, you can kind of experience that. You know, that today's tomato is not tomato 1,000 years ago kind of talk. But for today, we're going to keep it basic and just understand that ultra-processed foods are rich in refined sugars and seed oils, and they bear little resemblance to the natural whole foods human biology evolved to handle. And just to kind of give you a snapshot of where we are right now in this, the USDA allows school cafeterias to consider 2 tablespoons of tomato sauce on a pizza a vegetable to meet the nutrition requirement. And to kind of further go into that, and what happened with that is that the USDA fought for half a cup to equal that nutrition requirement for vegetables, and Schwann Food Company said no, 2 tablespoons is enough. If we give them half a cup, it's going to impact our profit margin. So there was a little bit of a battle, and the food company won. So that's kind of where we're at with not only what we're willing to accept in our society, but what we're teaching our kids from a really young age. And they're growing up with that and thinking that, you know, pizza sauce is a vegetable. So I like to, at this point, kind of ask if someone can give me the evolution of a whole food to its ultra-processed food, but maybe we should start at a processed food. If anybody could give me a processed food, and let's reverse engineer it into what that whole food started as. Is anybody willing to do that?
Potato chips.
Potato chips.
Because it's a potato.
Right. So what was it? What kind of potato chips?
I don't, just a plain that says potato chip.
Okay, like Lay's.
That you think
plastic.
comes from a potato.
Right. So what did that processing look like? Do we even know?
I mean, they cut the potato and fry it, and I don't know.
Right.
I have no idea.
I love it. So
but people may think a potato chip is healthy because it's potato.
Right. And if they're baked, right, they're even healthier.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Maybe even in avocado oil, you know?
That's true. I would buy that one.
But then too, whenever we go to like a Mexican restaurant and we look at that basket of tortilla chips, right? And Nick and I had this conversation the other day, like, you know, you're gonna be 12 chips in, and then how many corn tortillas did we just eat? Well, like, it's really easy to lose track, especially whenever you've just taken out the whole basket, right? Does anybody have anything else? What you got, Kim?
Sliced cheese.
Sliced cheese? Okay, well, let's hear it. Can we reverse it back?
I just don't think it's real cheese. Especially in this country.
American cheese.
Especially in this country.
American cheese.
So we do
More
something
American
different to our cheese. You know, and you could make it particularly like American cheese.
Yeah.
You know, I hate to say that, but like,
A lot of American foods
But
are
right.
not real.
It's different. There's some processing that happens in that makes it quite different than what it looks like in other countries. The one I like to use is the Pop-Tart. Like, we start with a strawberry Pop-Tart, and that is considered a breakfast food for a lot of people, right? It's got that strawberry filling. Well, we have to think about right before that strawberry filling was a jam. You know, it was made with pop, added sugar, we did some other things to it to make this like compote that we could put in that Pop-Tart. But before that, it was this whole food, strawberries, you know, beautiful. We didn't have to add anything to it, and it was great just like it was. So we can see how far removed things get from where they started, and how that might have a negative impact on us, and also how that might make them really highly palatable, where we could eat the whole bag or basket of chips, or eat a couple of sleeves of Pop-Tarts without really batting an eye, you know? Whereas if you give me the pint of strawberries, I'm probably not gonna eat the whole thing. And we're not even really looking at that much in carbohydrates and calories by the end of it.
I'm adding that salsa though.
The salsa,
Yeah.
as your vegetable.
Yeah, right.
I love it.
And other people are adding the cheese.
Okay.
It's a potato with cheese.
I messed this up. I was supposed to ask you guys macronutrients, what the 3 macronutrients are, but I think you know. Our 3 macronutrients are going to be protein, carbohydrates, and fat. So macronutrients don't just supply calories, they send signals that influence your hormones, inflammation, energy production, and cellular repair. So we've got, I'm over here, I'm only going to be here for a minute. But we have carbohydrates, we're going to put carbs, protein, and fat. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of those. So our proteins, they're also known as amino acids. They're for building structures and repairing tissues. I like to use that in terms of building muscle and repairing muscle, because a lot of us work out and kind of understand how that works whenever it relates to protein. But it builds and repairs a lot of other tissues as well. Makes enzymes, hormones, and supports our immune function. There are 9 essential amino acids, meaning we have to consume those 9 essential amino acids in order to perform those duties. So in order to build the structures, repair the muscle, we've got to eat those. Our body does not create them on its own. So sometimes whenever you guys hear me say, like, you ask me about collagen, and I'm like, it's good to have collagen every day, you know, to support your collagen in your body, but it's not a complete protein. So I mean that it doesn't have all 9 essential amino acids, and that makes it incomplete. So you shouldn't be using collagen as your main protein source all day long. Like, we shouldn't just be drinking 3 collagen shakes a day. We should be eating actual protein so that we can cover all 9 essential amino acids in our nutrition. What you got?
Would you count, if you were somebody counting macros, would you count the protein in collagen towards your daily intake goal, even though it's incomplete?
I would.
Okay.
I would count it. Would you?
I mean, I'd count everything.
You count everything. So, to that point, like, if you're a vegetarian or a vegan and you're not eating animal protein sources, so, and what I mean usually by that is animal protein sources, because they're going to be more bioavailable. That means you're going to get more protein out of your chicken thigh versus your chickpea, because your body absorbs it better. Now, if if you're vegetarian or vegan, you're gonna have to eat a variety of plants to cover all 9 of those, and usually your plants are gonna be carbohydrate, they're gonna be high in carbohydrate. So you're taking in quite a bit of carbohydrate while you're trying to hit your protein goal, which can be pretty challenging. So something to keep in mind, but also another rabbit hole to go pretty far down to. We have our fat, so those are gonna be our fatty acids. They look like saturated, monounsaturated, polyunsaturated fats. They're responsible for brain health, cellular integrity, hormone production, and energy. We have 2 essential fatty acids, and those are gonna be omega-3 and omega-6. That meaning we have to consume those in our diet. Our body does not create them on its own, and we need them to perform these functions. And then we have our carbohydrates, which will look like sugars, starches, and fiber, and they're responsible for energy only. They are non-essential, which is probably the most unpopular thing I'm gonna say today. They are not essential. We do not need them to survive. So, and with chronic overconsumption, especially of refined carbs, we drive metabolic dysfunction. So, any questions on that? Okay, does anybody want to give me some examples of carbohydrates? And they can be processed, unprocessed. Anybody? Morgan?
Bread, rice,
Bread, rice. What you got, Michaela?
bread and
Sweet
rice.
potato. Fruit. Fruit is another one I heard.
Oatmeal.
Oatmeal. All right. What about protein?
Steak. Chicken.
Fish.
Fish. Oh,
Eggs.
eggs. Good one. All right, what about fats?
Butter.
Butter. Avocado.
Bacon.
Bacon.
Yeah, buddy.
And some of these you'll know, some of you know this if you've tracked macros or, I've coached you before in nutrition. You'll know that there's some carryover. So like all of these protein sources contain fat, and then bacon's gonna contain some protein. You're gonna